Hi everyone. I wanted to create a video to share some accessibility options, especially for students who have an alternative materials format accommodation. What I wanted to show you is I'm actually right now in OneNote and you have access to OneNote. It is a Microsoft 365 tool. You may or may not have the Learning Tools add-on in your OneNote. So if you open OneNote and you don't see this Learning Tools tab right here at the top, if you don't see that, then we can get that add-on added to your computer. I can help you do that. So what I want to show you is how you can use OneNote as an alternative materials format for whether it's notes for your class, if you have handouts that you share with students, or for a quiz or something like that. The very first thing I'm going to do is I have this tab that says quiz one, but I'm actually going to make a new tab that says class outline, and we're going to add some notes here for a class outline, and then I'm going to show you how a student who has an alternative materials format accommodation can use the immersive reader within OneNote to be able to access that content. Okay, so let's say that these are some of your class lecture notes or a part of a resource or material that you plan to share with students. Basically, what I've done is I've copied and pasted it into OneNote, but you could also type it directly into OneNote just like you would a Word document. So from the Home tab, you'll see this looks almost identical to Word and some of the basic things that you can do. So what I'm going to do is from the Home tab, I'm going to take this um, header, and from the Home tab I'm going to use heading 1. And it's really important in accessible materials that you actually use the heading tool here as opposed to using bold or italics or underlining it, because the use of headings is going to make it um, known for a student who's not looking at it, who has low vision or blind or vision impairment, who can't tell it's a heading. You using one of the actual headings here is going to denote for someone listening that that is the heading. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I notice that these are kind of like bullet points, but they're not actually bullet points. So I'm going to go ahead and just add, let me pin this. I'm just going to go ahead and add bullet points here, just because instead of tick marks, bullet points are going to be clearer for a screen reader to read. So everywhere where I've got a tick mark, I'm going to add an actual bullet. So that's just a note: when making accessible documents, use actual bullet points in the formatting tools here. I'm just going to shorten this just for the sake of this video. Um, And the other thing is, this is also an 11-point font for accessible materials, and really for materials that you're making in general for really anything. Try to use at least a 12-point font minimum for all of your content. Okay, so once I'm done with this, I can share this with a student and they can open this in their OneNote application. And when they do, they can go to the Learning Tools tab and they can select Immersive Reader. When they select Immersive Reader, it'll take a second for it to open up. But when they select Immersive Reader, this will open up and you can see that it has the lecture notes here and a play button at the bottom. If a student needs to change the text preferences, if it's easier for them to see with a black background with white text, they can do that. If they need to increase the size of the text, they can do that, or decrease the size of the text. If they need more spacing between letters, they can do that. So they have a few options here about those things. And then they also have some additional support tools here as well. If they wanted to have syllables between words, they could do that. If they wanted all the nouns to be highlighted or verbs to be highlighted or adjectives, that can help them as well to be able to make sure that they're fully understanding and comprehending what's there. So again, what a student will do is they'll click play. Now, I don't know if you can hear that because I've got a headset in, but what it's doing is as it's highlighting each word, it's as it's highlighting each word, it's actually reading that to me. And I can even change the speed so I could slow down the way that a person is talking. And I could also, right now, there's only one voice, which is Anna, but I could download more voices from online. So if I preferred someone with maybe a deeper voice, or to hear a man's voice, or just to hear someone with a slightly different accent, I could download different voices to hear those voices read to me. But I can slow down her speed, or I can speed it up. The other thing is that if a student didn't get something, they can click that word and start from there again. So, this is definitely an option for students who need to be able to have alternative format materials. You can put your syllabus in OneNote. You can put all of your course materials in OneNote. You can create them in OneNote if you want to, and that way they can access them that way. The other thing is that there is an export option here. So you can export a document from OneNote into a Word document, and I'm going to do that just so that we can see what that looks like. So I'm just going to do this one page of not the. I could export the full notebook, so I could export all documents that I put into this one notebook, if you will, all the tabs. I could put that all in Word, or I could just do this one page. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to click export, and okay, I want it to be a Microsoft Word document. And let's go ahead and just save that. So now let's go ahead and open that Word document and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is how the document exports directly from OneNote. You can see it's still very legible. It still has all the bullet points here. It's dated with a date and time. One thing I will say is that when I exported it to Word, you see that this is no longer heading one. So I would still need to go back and make sure that all of my headings were actually using the heading styles at the top. Maybe I'll make this a title, but that all of my headings were using the style headings. But you can see, so I can export it from OneNote into Microsoft Word, and most of the formatting is still there, right? It still looks very similar to how I had it. Let's go back to OneNote. And now let's talk about how this could be used for a quiz. So again, this could be a folder for your course. So right now, this folder, I've named it accessibility, but this could be the name of your course, and you could copy and paste your course documents in here and just kind of update the formatting so that students can use it. Um, the other thing that you can do is, let's say you have a quiz and you know that you're going to need students to take their quiz in an alternative format. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy some quiz questions over. Let's go ahead and paste those here. And these are the quiz questions that I've copied. The formatting's a little off. I'm also going to include a question that has some pictures in it too, because that's another point for accessibility, is alternative text. Okay, so the formatting here is okay. So here's my quiz. It's 4 questions, and the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this picture. I'm going to click it, and when I right click it, there's an option that says Alt Text, and I'm just going to say Alec Guinness in movie X. There was already some alt text here, which is great. Sometimes um, if you copy uh, pictures, or if you get pictures from the internet, check your copyright. But sometimes those images will already have alt text built in. Okay, so great. So now I've got these pictures here, and why that came out odd, I don't know. So we're gonna again just highlight everything highlight all of our text, and just make sure that it's all 12 font. Okay, another way that I could do that is just by clicking the entire box, and that entire box I could change the font like that. Okay, so now here's a quiz, and again, we can share this with students, and a student could receive this quiz and open it in OneNote, and they can go to the Learning Tools Immersive Reader. So again, they can hear one, the question, and then the answer choices, and then they can pause it, right, and go back and listen to it again, or click on a specific answer choice if they want to hear that again. What was B? Okay, and then C. Okay, so they could go and re-listen to those things again. They could make the text size smaller if they wanted to. They can do all of those things. So this is another way that you can put your quizzes in alternative formats that won't require you to record your own voice, and that also won't require you to orally deliver the exam to students. So this is a way that you can provide materials in alternative formats. If you have PDF resources, those are going to be the hardest resources. Well, they could be potentially the hardest resources to put into alternative formats. If your PDFs are really just scanned in pages, a screen reader can't read that because it's really just a picture. If you can highlight the text, so if you can put your cursor on the PDF and you can actually drag and highlight text on the PDF, that's a good sign or a better sign that that's a document that can be made more accessible or possibly may be accessible. If you cannot select text with your cursor in that PDF, that document is not accessible and is going to be a little bit more challenging to convert into an accessible document. So, keep that in mind. You may need to reach out to Angie in the Office of Accessibility about what to do with PDF documents. One option might be to record them. And read them. I'm going to show you one last tool that you can use to use to record content if you need to. So if the OneNote is not an option, and if you're finding that, let me remember that, if you're finding also that your PDFs aren't really working, another option that you might want to consider is a free tool called Headliner. And so, what Headliner will allow you to do while it's coming up is it's really a tool for turning podcasting into video. And you can create a free account with this tool. So you can make 10 videos per month and have a transcription included in your video. So you've got a audio recording as well as captioning for up to 10 videos a month for free. Just to go to the gallery and show you some of these videos that have been used to do this. I think I'm going to try to find one that looks reasonable. Um, and there are a lot of different things that you can do with this in terms of content, but I'm just going to, and I hope that you guys can hear this. Um, but pretty much you just can have one image that you use. Let's see if this will play. And you can record audio. So you could record audio for a document. Okay, I'm turning my volume down just so I can talk over it. But you should be able to see that here's the audio And then there's also I'll make this full screen. So here's the audio at the top. I'm going to mute a little bit. And there's just one image there, and then there's captions at the bottom. So if you have and I'll pause that. So if you have an essay or something that's been scanned in, you could record yourself reading that document or have a student record themselves reading that document. And then you can just put one image as the front cover, and then there will be captions as well as audio recording. So I know this video was a little long, and I do apologize for the length of this video. But if you want to learn more about Headliner, how to use this tool for podcasting in your course or podcasting outside of your course, honestly, or if you want to learn more about how to add the immersive reader to OneNote to be able to test your documents, or how to use OneNote to make alternative formats for your documents, you can definitely reach out to me at ajcroom@bsc.edu, or you can call me at extension 3039.